you?
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
We are so excited to have you. We consider you part of our Spotlight family now. So you in the club.
I'm in the club.
You in the club,
good.
girl.
It's a good club to be in.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you in a great situation anyway. So let's talk about it a little bit. Tell the people who you are, what you got going on. But first of all, I want to thank you for coming on the show. We appreciate you.
Yes.
Thank you guys for having me. My name is Anbria, Bri Childs. Bri's my nickname. I'm an author. I just put out my book on Monday, so it's available for pre-orders. The name of my book is called Let Me Tell You Something, A Black Woman's Guide to Overcoming.
Oh, man.
Say that again.
Say that title.
Let me tell you something. So you got to say it with a little attitude.
Yeah, put the attitude on.
Yeah, a little attitude. Let me tell you something. A Black Woman's Guide to Overcoming.
Okay, so it's
how'd you come up with that title?
Yeah, it's a lot behind that title.
So I'm always saying, let me tell you something. I realize that I always say that when I'm talking, like when I'm trying to make a point about something, an emphasis, I always say, let me tell you something. And I realize that it gets people's attention.
Yeah.
So when I was trying to think of the book, I was telling my boyfriend, I was like, what do you think about the title, Let Me Tell You Something? He was like, yeah, I like that. I think that's real good. And then I was like, okay, well, then I got to think of a subtitle so people can know exactly what I'm talking about.
There you go.
Okay. So it's a lot of powerful things behind everything in that title. So why don't you talk a little bit about give people an overview of what they can find in this book and why should they purchase this book?
So the book is about Black women overcoming. So I wanted to do a book about overcoming because I've been through a lot of things in my life. So in the book, I talk about sexual abuse. I talk about low self-esteem. I talk about being promiscuous. I talk about father issues that I've had. And so in the book, when I talk about those things, I wanted to make sure that I told my story so that Black women in particular can know that no matter what you're going through, that you can always overcome.
Yes.
So,
that is so powerful. And so you say you have overcome a lot of things, and you mentioned fatherhood. A lot of people don't really realize how important it is to have a father as a young
woman.
lady.
Yes.
We equate fatherhood to a young man.
Yeah.
So how does it affect you, and for the lack thereof, as a father? As a woman.
As a woman, it's like you said, a father is really, really important in the little girl's life.
Yep.
Because a father, I always say that a father is supposed to be like a superhero. That's supposed to be the person that you look up to, the person that you will want the person that you're going to be with to replicate and all of those things. So I knew that a father was very, very important. And because I didn't have my father, when I went through my sexual abuse, I felt like I didn't have a superhero. I felt like I didn't have somebody to come and save me.
Right.
And then I went through a lot of promiscuity, a lot of low self-esteem, and I didn't have my father there to build me up. Yeah. And so a father is necessary. Fathers are important, and fathers are needed in young women's lives.
Yes,
I believe that as a man, because what I learned is we're front line and women are front line for our children.
Yes.
So as a young lady, you look at the father as the gatekeeper to show you how a man should treat you and what a real man looks like.
Absolutely.
In his whole situation.
Absolutely.
So when a man that doesn't look like daddy, if daddy's solid, comes in your life, then you know he's not him.
Right.
Right?
Exactly.
And so,
yeah, that's important because if you get with somebody and they're a bad representation, you kind of attract what you're used to. So if my father was a good representation in my life, then when I see somebody else, I'll be like, oh, okay, like he represents, he shows what my father shows me. So then I'll make better decisions. Mm-hmm. But because you don't have that, it's almost like you're just out there wandering, trying to figure out, where you should go.
Wow, girl. Wow.
So did you have other men to fill that void? Like I grew up without a father as well. At 1 year old, my father was leaving me on the steps, having me wonder when he was going to show up. And I did this for like 3 months. Mm. And then my mother finally called me in and said, he's just not coming. Yeah. And so I had other mentors come in my life to show me, how to be a man. And I followed some good, some bad. But I learned different things from other men without my father. So how did that, work in your life? Did you have mentors? Did you have uncles? Did you have someone to kind of fill in the gap?
Well, for me, I would say my grandfather, and then I had other teachers in school that would kind of, show me the things that I should be doing, helping me as far as school and things like that. But not a real mentor, somebody I can actually say.
Yeah, and you talked about low self-esteem, which is an issue with a lot of women. Even in my past, I've dated women, and it seemed like the prettier they were, the more insecure they were for some reason, right? Yes. I don't know what that's about. And so maybe you can expound on that a little bit as far as insecurities. How did you deal with your insecurities?
Well, like you said, the prettier you are, the more overdressed you try to make yourself be. It's almost like you're trying to cover up what it is that you're going through. And so for me, I would try to cover up a lot of things so that people wouldn't think that I had low self-esteem. Yeah. Like I would wear makeup and just things like that. Not saying that makeup makes you,
right,
that you have low self-esteem.
Yeah, we get it.
But you try to cover up things so that people don't see the wounds that you have.
Right.
I tried to not show people that I had low self-esteem, but ultimately I had it for a long, long, long time.
Yeah, wow. You and many people. I've learned that a lot of sisters out here have it, and still to this day. And you will look at them and think they have it all together, and they have a great job, and they have a home, and this and that and the third. And you assume that they have high self-esteem. Yeah. And they have a sort of what they call a wall or something that they put up, and it works for us because it shows up as high self-esteem. Absolutely. Until you really get to know that sister. Yeah. And then you start to see that she's hiding some stuff. Yeah. And so that's what I want. I'm glad you see. It takes a lot of courage to talk about those type of things because I don't want to have a platform about that too. Just about how do you build up your esteem when you don't have a father figure or someone to encourage you. Yeah. So you finally seem like you have it all, figured out. So how did you?
What was the tipping point?
Yeah. What was
the turning point?
What was your turning point where you said, okay, I'm gonna have to, stand on something? What did you stand on?
Well, bad relationship after bad relationship kind of made me like, girl, like it's not, if you're the common denominator, maybe it's not necessarily them, but maybe it's the decisions that you're making. Mm-hmm. And so I was making a lot of bad decisions and I was kind of blaming other people. And I realized that I had low self-esteem when I would break up with somebody and then I would have to immediately get back with somebody else because that validated me. Right. Being with somebody else validated me.
I never heard anyone say that before because I remember being young and I remember hopping from relationship to relationship, not even knowing why I was doing it, right? Just going from relationship to relationship. But maybe it is because you need validating. And that person that you're going to is saying how great you are and this and that. And if you don't have anybody, then you feel away.
Yeah. You just feel like, oh my God, nobody wants me. I must be doing something wrong. And ultimately, you need to heal before you can get into another relationship. You should be healing yourself, figuring out what your wounds are. And a lot of my wounds were rejection. A lot of my wounds were fear because I didn't have my father in my life. So that was like the starting point of everything that I was going through. So I had to figure out what my wounds were so that I could heal, so that I could be a better version of myself for me.
Wow. So now you're talking about all of these great things. You go from low self-esteem, not having a real strong figure to lead you and guide you, to being in a VIP club.
Yeah. Shout out to Miss Trust.
Yes, girl.
So let's fill in the gap a little bit. How did all of these things happen? Because this is not any VIP club.
No.
Tressa, I don't know that you guys know who Tressa is. Shame on you if you don't. Go to at CEO Azarel and check out Tressa. This young lady is amazing. She's put about 10 movies out in the last damn year.
Yes.
Alone. Yes. And she's a big time filmmaker. She's had about 165 or so books published and a whole bunch of things that she published other authors' books and turned them into film. So you're a VIP person in that situation over there. What drew you to that situation? Like, how did you get in that camp?
So I went to college in New York for acting. And that was always something that I really, really, really enjoyed was acting. Mm-hmm. And then when I graduated, I'm like, do I really love acting? I kind of do, but I like writing more. And so then I got into writing stage plays. And then I came across Miss Tressa, I think it was on Instagram or something. I came across her profile or something like that. And I was like, oh. And I saw that what she was doing in the community, and not just in the community, but for the world. I'm like, she has her hands in so many things, and it inspired me because I'm like, wow, she's a woman boss, and that's something that I want to be.
Yes,
and so then I reached out to her, and I've been a mentor mentee ever since.
She's an amazing mentor.
She's super amazing.
She's an amazing. She's not my mentor, but as you know, woman to woman, we're both married when we have a lot of things in common. And so, what she has been for me is someone who motivates me on a boss level. You know, like, all right, Terry, ain't getting no money sleeping. So get up. All right, you ain't getting no money doing that. Everything's about you. If you getting some money doing that, then don't do it.
Exactly.
Redirect yourself.
But I'll tell you this. I'll say this about Tress, and I'll say it over and over. I've always said it. This is someone who motivates me from a distance.
Yeah.
Like, she doesn't have to call my phone. She doesn't have to say, Stan, this or that.
Nope.
She just literally shows me her, and then I'll be motivated by her actions and how she's moving.
Yeah.
It's like she's never sleeping.
Yeah.
She's writing in her sleep.
Yes.
She's on a yacht with a computer. All this kind of stuff is going on, right? So this is what a boss looks like.
Yeah.
So congratulations for being in that camp, and I know she has you on a great path. So what's next for you?
Well, I'm going to be teaching a course in June. It's called Good Touch, Bad Touch, where I am going to be teaching young kids about the difference between good touch and bad touch. And I definitely want to do that because I was sexually abused when I was 5. Yeah. And I didn't really have anybody to kind of tell me the difference between
like what's good touch and bad touch.
what's good touch and bad touch, because back then people weren't really talking about that.
That's true.
So and I, of course, my mom was like the greatest mom ever, but you're not thinking about that type of thing. So I definitely want to teach parents and young kids about good touch, bad touch. I just had a candid conversation this past over the weekend with some women in the DMV area, so I definitely want to keep some great women in the DMV area, so I definitely want to keep that going.
The networking is important. So
very important.
Keep that going. How can people get a copy of the book before we let you go?
Definitely.
So you go to www.Anbria, Anbria, Childs, CHILDS.com, and you just hit the shop tab, and it's right there.
Anbria Childs.
How can they follow you on social media?
My Instagram is Bri Childs 1. My Facebook is Anbria Childs as well.
And shout out the title to the book one last time.
Yeah, one more time.
Let me tell you something: A Black Woman's Guide to Overcoming.
I love it, Bri. Thank you.
Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something.
I have a little attitude.
Let me tell you this.
Thank you
so
much.
Thank you for that. Thank you for your ambition. Thank you for your future endeavors, because I know this is just the beginning for you.
Thank you.
So hopefully we'll turn this book into a film, maybe.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's how you
one
do
day.
that.
That's right.
That's how that happens.
And
so,
anytime our platform can help you along the way, let us know.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yep. So we got to wrap. So we got another guest coming up. But thank you again for being a part of Spotlight over this.